I'm Samantha.
And I'm Candido.
And this is
Geeking Out with My Spouse.
And on today's episode, this is the way.
We're going to be talking about The Mandalorian.
Yes, and the little child, Grogu, who is why everybody is obsessed with The Mandalorian.
So, stay tuned. So do you remember when I tried to get you to watch The Mandalorian and you had like no interest in it whatsoever?
Yes.
So and I'm sitting in the living room and I'm watching it. I think you might be in the kitchen doing something, cooking, cleaning, doing the dishes, what have you. And then you see on the screen at the very end a little cute little green alien. And you're like, who is that? And I was like, you know what? Too much to explain. You have to watch everything that happens before it to understand what's going on.
So then you made me watch Star Wars.
I did. I made you watch Star Wars. The Trojan horse Grogu. This is how I got you.
The Mandalorian is a gateway drug.
Or Grogu is the gateway drug. Because it's like, a lot of people, I'm sure, a lot of girlfriends and spouses and all that stuff got to use Grogu as the reason they jumped into Star Wars because, for the most part, it's definitely a dude's fandom, right? Star Wars. You really didn't have to see that many females like Star Wars fans. At least not that I noticed when I was growing up. So
yeah, I have a coworker who, her husband is I wouldn't say obsessed. He really likes Star Wars, and she doesn't like it at all. But then her mother is obsessed.
Yes.
Her and her husband love Star Wars. Everything Star Wars.
Is this your coworker that has all the Grogu stuff?
Yep.
Yeah. See? Grogu. Saving marriages.
Yeah.
Or bringing marriages closer together through Star Wars.
Yep.
I read a rumor once about The Mandalorian that it started off as a Boba Fett show.
Really?
Yeah, so they thought it was, I think they tried to make a Boba Fett show. Or it was like an underground Star Wars show. And it was in production for a little bit too. Mm-hmm. And it got scrapped. The idea got scrapped. And I think they came back to it years later under the Disney umbrella. So when Disney bought it, I think they were looking to kind of redo it and make it more PG. Because I think from what I remember, it was kind of like a dark underworld type story.
I could see that.
But then, they wanted to bring back Mandalorian fans because there's a cult of Mandalorian fans, right? Because
it seems like a cult,
right? Because it's we're all Boba Fett fans, right? And Boba Fett, you don't see much of him in the original trilogy. And it's but he has all this stuff in the extended universe, all these cool stories. I think we kind of talked about it before.
Multiple different, I want to say forms, but that's not the right word. Costume or
I think different
concepts.
Yeah, concepts. So there's the original prototype one, where it's all white, and then there's the original one, and there was the holiday special one where he has tan and blue. But I'm talking about
You can tell I've been watching too much anime.
Yeah. So the expanded universe, there's a bunch of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And that's where all the Fett fanboys come from.
Yeah.
It's from the expanded universe and all the stories and the Dark Horse comics and all that good stuff. And they knew, George Lucas knew that there was a outcry of people wanting this content, this Mandalorian content. So then they make the prequels and then they introduce Jango Fett, which unfortunately, I feel even with Jango Fett, it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Actually, it was pointless to bring him in just to, to kill him that way because it was he really couldn't be a badass like everybody wanted him to be.
Yeah.
So they were okay, we're going to give this Boba Fett show. But it ended up being The Mandalorian, and they completely went a different way.
Yeah.
So I really liked it because it's it explores a different, it actually just, explores the Mandalorians Boba Fett himself is more of a mercenary. I think they say he's a Mandalorian. They do the whole chain code thing in one of the episodes of The Mandalorian when they're on the Seeing Stone or whatever, and he's like, look at the chain code. This armor was my dad. It was given to him by this guy.
Yeah.
Oh, he's like, you're a foundling. So they make him a Mandalorian, but I don't think he ever really was a Mandalorian.
Yeah.
I think he was just a dude who had that armor. And but so when Mandalorian came out, I was super excited.
Yeah.
I've been trying to, on another note, build a Mandalorian suit since we lived in Florida.
Yep.
I've been buying components and trying to figure out how to make my own little Mandalorian suit, helmet with the jetpacks and all the Beskar and stuff like that, but never got around to actually finishing because I don't know how to sew. Yeah. And I think that's what ultimately it boils down to is I just didn't know how to sew. But hopefully, coming soon, I'll be able to use this fabric glue and it'll help us out. But anyway, so Mandalorian season 1. Yeah. You watched all the Star Wars just so you can watch season 1 of The Mandalorian. Yeah. So let's talk about season 1 of The Mandalorian. Then we'll talk about season 2, 3, and maybe Boba Fett, the 2 episodes, which is basically a Mandalorian. Season 2.5.
Yeah.
So first season, what do you think? Like, what's your favorite part of the first season, or do you, story wise, like, what's your favorite part?
I mean, I guess it would be that I am who I am. So him saving Grogu from
the client.
Yeah. That would have to be my favorite.
Is that when you started to get vested into it?
I think so. It's really easy to follow, I would say, for someone like me. It's really easy to follow, and
there's enough drama for you, enough action for you, enough suspense. No romance at all.
No, you know what? I think that's kind of disappointing.
Really? You wanted a little romance? No romance?
Yeah. They kind of hint towards it, like when he's at the on that planet where they have to save the
village,
the people from the ATST. Sorry.
Yeah. Two-legged.
Yeah. Where they had to save him from them, and then what were they? Just like pirates or something?
I think something like that, yeah.
So they hint towards that, and it was like, dang. Because you see him, he takes his helmet off.
He was about to. He was like, hold up, girl.
No. He takes his helmet off. He's standing inside the house or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And then he takes his helmet off, and he's looking out. So he takes his helmet off, and you can see him put it down. Mm-hmm. And he's looking out, and he's looking at her. And I was like, that's when I thought...
Oh, sure. I don't remember that.
Oh, yeah.
All I remember from that particular episode is, like, he, like, lifts his helmet up to eat. But I don't remember him, like, taking the whole thing off and setting it off to the side, but I could be mistaken.
Well, she also went to go lift his helmet up, and he pulled it back down.
Yeah, because she was like, you can stay here.
Yeah. And... Yeah. Obviously, there's a story there, and there was a story there. It's not like they were going somewhere with it.
Yeah.
But having him settle down...
Well, that would have been the end of the show.
That would have been the end of the show, yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't have him settle down.
Yeah.
What do you think of the environment? Like, I like it because it's still different, right? Because most of Star Wars is, like, galactic cities... And, like, with the exception of, like, Tatooine, which is, like, a desert. Yeah, everything else is kind of just, like Naboo was all green. And then, Hoth was ice. And freaking, what is it? Coruscant was, like, a crazy city.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it just really, Alderaan, like, all these places and stuff like that. But you really don't get, like, a lot of, like, desert vibes. And I like the Western aspect to it. Mm-hmm. Right? So it's, like, different. It's more... I mean, I know they have, like, fantastical weapons and stuff. They have the lightsabers, they have the blasters, and they have cool stuff like that, flamethrowers and all that stuff. But I think I like it because it's just kind of more grounded. Mm-hmm. And that's my take with a lot of, like, my animes that I like to watch. I like the more grounded ones sometimes. Because, like, how I'm a big fan of Gundam, which is kind of outer space as well. But, like, there's one that's called 8th MS Team. And instead of being in outer space and being all these outer space battles, it's like grounded onto the ground. It's like trench warfare. It's like fighting on the ground, which I really like.
Yeah.
So with the Mandalorian, I kind of feel like I like that aspect too, because in the beginning, he walks into a bar, and it's just action right off the bat. And it's just like lone wolf type stuff. He's out there hunting. It's just like really low threat.
Yeah.
Isn't this overemphasizing dark side, light side battle? It's just kind of, it's just a man trying to, make some money.
A man trying to make some money, and then he picks up a kid and gets attached, and it kind of changes his whole
life.
Yeah, his whole way of thinking.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, I really liked it. I kind of like how he like you said, he flipped up everything upside down of his whole way of life. So like he was just a client to begin with, and then he gets attached to the kid, but then he turns him in still.
Yeah.
And then when he takes the Camtono, which is like that container that the client gives him, and it's full of all the Beskar, and he takes it to the armorer, and the armorer is asking him all these questions, he's like thinking back like, man, that, this is probably, it wasn't, like, it's not fair that this happened, like she's like, oh, what caused all this damage to your armor? He's like, it's the Mudhorn. I said, well, that's going to be your signet, like that's going to be your little emblem on your pauldrons or your whatever they're called. Yeah. He's like, no, can't do that because I didn't defeat it myself. I was helped out by an enemy. And she was like, why did the enemy help you? He was like, well, he didn't know.
He didn't know he was my enemy.
He didn't know I was my enemy. So I think that's when like a switch flips for him.
Yeah.
He's like, man, maybe I shouldn't have did this.
Yeah.
So then he goes back, wreaks havoc, rescues the child.
Yeah.
All the Mandalorians from the covert at this point come out to help him.
And then they
have to like disband because now they all showed themselves. They're supposed to be like a hidden society almost, right? So I thought that was cool. And then they helped him out, and then he's on the run. Mm-hmm. And like that's where you get to see all those other cool characters. Like you meet Quill. Mm-hmm. I mean, we already met Quill before. He meets Quill when he goes and gets the child to begin with. Then you get Cara Dune on that episode we were just talking about. That's like on that planet where he has to save the villagers or whatever.
Yeah.
And I mean, who else? My goodness, he sees a couple other people in there too. Just can't remember who, but
yeah, shoot, I don't know.
I'm blanking on it. Season 1 was like, 2 episodes, get the kid. Mm-hmm. 3rd episode, save the kid. Mm-hmm. 4th episode, on the run with the kid.
Yeah.
And then 5th episode, on the run with the kid again. And then I think 6. I think was it 6 or 8 that first season? It was 8. It was 8. So then
every season's been 8.
Oh, and then trying to make money. Because remember, there's an episode where he's trying to get funds and stuff.
Yeah.
And then that's when he goes back to his old ways, trying to make some money, and they betray him. When he does that one with that ship, or like
with the crew.
With the crew,
where they get the Quinn, I think his name was, the brother, the Twi'lek,
in the jail.
Yeah, and then it's funny because you see. He's this bounty hunter, right? Mm-hmm. He goes and he gets his people. He puts them in carbonite, and he brings them in alive.
Yeah.
He doesn't like killing people.
Not unless he has to, right?
Yeah, because you see, like, he leaves them on that ship, and he's like, Quinn asks him, like, did you killed the others? And he was like, they got what they deserved.
Right.
And you see them later, they're in the cell. They're all together in the cell. And I think that's one thing I do really like about The Mandalorian is that he's a bounty hunter.
He's a professional.
He doesn't play around.
Yeah.
He goes and he gets his
target, his man.
And he gets back, right?
Yeah.
And then he works alone. He's very direct, but then you see that softer side of him where, he doesn't want to kill people.
Yeah.
And I think he was really upset when that dude killed Fennec Shan.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Because he definitely didn't want to. Back to the ship, that, the prisoner ship or whatever.
Yeah.
They said, oh, there's nobody in there but droids. And then there's that one guy that's in there.
Yeah.
That they end up killing.
Yeah.
That guy does the voice of Anakin Skywalker in the Clone Wars.
I think you told me that. Yeah.
It's a little bit of knowledge for you.
Well, and then that was really sad too, because he's like, nobody's gonna die today or whatever.
Yeah,
I think is what he said.
They just take him out.
And then
that's
the Twilight kills him, right?
Yeah, I think it's the girl, the crazy girl.
Ooh, she's crazy.
Yeah, but then like you said, then he goes to Tatooine, and to fix the Razor Crest, I believe. Or something with the Razor Crest. I don't know. Or just to make money, because obviously he's got to make some money, and then he reached
Tatooine, he was looking for. He went to Tatooine because he was looking for people like him, I think.
No, that's season 2 when he's looking for people like him.
Oh, crap.
Yeah, season 1, he meets that one dude. He's trying to get credits because there's something wrong with the Razor Crest. He meets that one dude who's like...
When is there not something wrong with
the
Razor Crest?
There's always something wrong with the Razor Crest. So he meets that one dude who's like a rookie bounty hunter, and he's like, oh, I'll help you. If you help me find Fennec Shand, I'll give you some of my money.
Yeah.
And then they go and they work together to go get Fennec Shand, but she like uses verbal judo on him, and she turns that dude, I can't remember his name, she turns that dude on him, and he rushes back to basically kidnap Grogu and hold him hostage so that he could take Mando back to Navarro for the bounty and take the baby for the bounty, and then takes him out, which is pretty cool. And then that's when they go back. That's when he he gets the message from Grief Karga. It's like, come back, we got a plan.
Yeah.
And then
he's like, if you come back, we'll...
Yeah, and so then he goes and gets Kara, and then he goes and gets Queel and IG-11, who's now a nurse droid or a protocol droid or whatever. And then the Blurgs, and then they go to Navarro. And then the last 2 episodes are the like siege on Navarro, and the crazy part, fighting Moff Gideon and all that good stuff.
And that is really upsetting because Queel did not want to go, and he talked him into it, and Queel was like, well, you could take IG-11, and he's like, no. And then he was like, well, I'll go, but only if
he comes.
Goes.
Yeah.
So
he's like, you trust me? Well, then you trust my work. I reprogrammed him. He'll protect the kid. Yeah.
And he did. And those were the 2 saddest deaths in the first episode, or the first season.
Yeah, Queel and IG-11.
And IG-11.
Yeah. IG-11 went out pretty hardcore, too.
Oh, my God.
I like how when they're, fighting their way out and they're, like, surrounded or whatever, and then, like, the big blast happens, and Kara and Grief and I think Grogu, they, like, are trying to flee, and Mando needs to be, like, give some Bacta or some spray or something to kind of heal him.
Yeah.
And he's like, you need to take off your helmet. He's like, no, I can't take off my helmet.
He's like, I'm not a living being.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not a living being. So he takes off his helmet. And that's the first time you see Pedro Pascal's face in that whole first season, is that last episode. And then he sprays him, heals him up a little bit, and then they go down and the lava piece or whatever, and IG-11 explodes. He's like, I cannot be captured, and he has a countdown self-destruct.
Yeah.
And then, the crazy part, and then what do you think about that reveal? Did you know anything about, so when Moff Gideon crashes, right? And then like
when he cuts his way out with the Darksaber?
He cuts his way out of the TIE fighter or whatever he has with the Darksaber. Did you know anything about the Darksaber before that second?
No, because there's nothing in anything that we watched about the Darksaber.
It's in the Clone Wars, but I don't remember how much of Clone Wars you watched. I thought you watched most of it.
I think I did watch a lot of Clone Wars, but I think also that was during the time where I was working nights, if I'm not mistaken. I think I was sleeping a lot. But yeah.
So when I saw it, I was hyped. I was like, oh, that's crazy, because, I mean, the last time you see the Darksaber in Clone Wars, I believe, is like on the Siege of Mandalore, where like Darth Maul has the Darksaber.
Oh.
And he's like leading some of the I don't even know what they are. The Children of the Watch, Death Watch. Jesus, okay. I couldn't get it out.
And I had no idea what you were talking about.
So there's like 2 sects on Mandalore, and it's like the Death Watch people and then like the regular Mandalorian. They're like there's like a civil war happening because half of them are fighting under Darth Maul, and the other ones are kind of fighting with like I want to say like Bo-Katan maybe was there, and I know Obi-Wan was there, I believe, as well, and Anakin and Ahsoka. I think all of them were there, and they were fighting them off or whatever. At least I think that's how it is. That's the last time you really see it, because he fights what's his name? Not Paz Vizsla, because Paz Vizsla is in Mandalorian, but Pre Vizsla or something like that. Whoever his ancestor was, maybe like 2 Vizslas before Paz, and he beats him and takes the Darksaber by combat or whatever, and then that's it. Then you see Moff Gideon cut himself out, and then bam, into season 2, which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
and I think season 2 was my favorite because it was like they introduced a lot more Mandalorians.
Yeah,
they introduced Bo-Katan was in there, and
her crew.
Like I think
and then they kind of like. You get to know about Mandalorians in that season 2. So you get to learn about the old Mandalorians that are, this is the way. They don't take their helmet off.
The Children of the Watch.
Yeah. And then you get to know about the new aged ones who are like, no, you know, we're from Mandalore. We're Mandalorians.
Yeah.
I don't care. I'll take my helmet off if I want.
I do what I want. The 2 different sects, whatever they say. Sex. Yeah, SECT. Yeah. Yeah, like 2 different crews, 2 different brands of Mandalorian. They don't get along. So I like that. Obviously, my favorite episode was Boba Fett episode.
Yeah.
Which was my favorite because I know we talked about it before. I like when he goes and he's like just wrecking shop with the stormtroopers that are there. He's just taking them out left and right, hitting them with his gaffy stick, knee rockets. Then they're like transport was up there, and then he like shoots one of them down from his jetpack rocket. But then he said, "Oh, I shot the wrong one." He's like, "I was aiming for the other one."
Aiming for the other one.
Yeah, so that was like my favorite episode. And then obviously, the Grogu gets taken.
Yep.
Which, they also introduced Ahsoka in there too.
Yes, they do.
Which is pretty cool. So you get to see Ahsoka, the first live action. Ahsoka is there, Rosario Dawson, and that was a good episode too.
I love Rosario Dawson.
Yeah.
Let me just say, everything that she plays in, she is great, and I've never seen a bad Rosario Dawson character.
Yeah. So I like that because then they introduced like the Night Sister, who has the Beskar spear, who's held up in that like town, and she took it over.
I forget her name.
I can't remember her name either. But and then initially when Mando meets Ahsoka, they like kind of have like a little fight. It's pretty cool. Like she tries to hit him with her lightsabers, and he blocks with his Beskar arm.
He said, "Ahsoka Tano."
Yeah, and it's like, so that's cool. And all right,
cool. Bo-Katan sent me.
And so that was cool. I like that. And then obviously, they take the kid when he gets on the Seeing Stone, so on and so forth. Then they do the rescue crew for that one. They go and they had to gather intel and stuff. Do you have a favorite character from season 2?
I really like Fennec Shand because I'll tell you, not just because she's a woman, but I really like her character because she is portrayed as this like really like brutal killer. They talk about how she's killed a lot of people, and you'll never get her because she's whatever.
Yeah.
But her character, she might always like I don't know how to explain it. Like I guess she might always have her guard up, but she doesn't. Everybody that she meets, like everybody that they're fighting with, she gets along with them. Like she's not hateful towards anybody. She doesn't have like a, I don't know. She doesn't have like an attitude. She just works well with, and she gets the job done.
Yeah.
And I think when Boba Fett and her take over in Jabba's palace or whatever.
Yeah.
I love the end of that episode
yeah.
when he pushes the Twi'lek off and he sits in the thing and then she's there and she's got the spotchka and
she's just sipping on it.
Yeah. It just that really shows her character. She's loyal. She's badass. She's there for.
She's there for the ride, and she's loyal.
Yeah.
I think.
And I like that she had no beef with Din.
Yeah.
Because I think she just knew like he wouldn't have killed her. He was going to take her in because there was a bounty on her.
Yeah.
So there was no ill will between them when, I mean, it kind of sucks that he did leave her there. But, I mean, I guess he thought she was dead.
So, yeah, I get that about Fennec, though. My favorite character, outside, of course, Din, Boba Fett, the Mandalorians. Mm-hmm. Like, I figured that's kind of like a gimme to say that, right? I think Miggs is his name, Miggs Mayfield, the dude from season 1.
That they let go?
Yeah, the guy they let go. Because, like, his story is pretty crazy, too, because, he was Imperial, and I think he was a sharpshooter or Imperial agent or whatever.
Yeah.
And he turned mercenary, and he was part of that escape mission on the prison transport season 1. Mm-hmm. But they get him and they pick him up from like a trash planet where he's doing his like community service or whatever, and because he has like inside knowledge of the base they're trying to infiltrate because of his time where he worked with the Empire. And then they go there, and his interaction with Din is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. I like their banter back and forth. It's pretty interesting. I like after they finally get inside, after they are on the train or the transport with the Rhydonium or whatever, they go there and he's like, I can't, that dude knows me or whatever.
Yeah.
And then he's like, you got to go there. And so Din's like, give me the stick, I'll go. And he's like, you can't, you got to take your helmet off. Because it scans your face. And so, but he does it. Din does it, And it's funny because then that guy comes over. I can't remember the like the officer's name or whatever his name is. But
I can't either.
I know he was like an a-hole though. Mm-hmm. And he goes over and he's like talking to Din, and Din's like don't know what to say because he doesn't want to give himself away. Mm-hmm. And Miggs comes out of nowhere. He said, "Oh, we call him Brown Eyes." Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you know what that means, but so like they say somebody who has like brown eyes like that is full of shit.
Oh.
So like him not taking off his helmet and all that stuff and this code he's living by, but he took his helmet off. So basically he was saying that he's full of crap. Oh. And that's why he called them Brown Eyes. But then they start talking and you get like this backstory, like his backstory, how they were on that planet and that dude gave that order to
kill
everybody that he worked with, everybody that he knew. All these people have families, and you can see the tension just building and building and building. And he was getting hot underneath the collar, and then he just couldn't take it anymore. He just blasted that dude. He just blasted that dude, and like he kind of gets his redemption, kind of in that moment because.
Even more so when
he avenged all his people, all his comrades, all his subordinates, everybody who he was working with by like taking that guy out.
Well, then he took out the whole thing.
Oh yeah, then he took out he sniper shot out there on the Rhydonium and blew up the entire base, which was pretty cool. So I like him in that one. And at the end, they're like, "Too bad, Miggs Mayfield died or whatever." Mm-hmm. And he's like looking around, like, "Wait, what? What are you talking about?" He's like, "I don't know, he didn't make it out of there." And he's like.
Should I leave?
Am I gonna leave? And they're trying to like ignore it because Cara Dune's a marshal, so she can't be like you're free, but whatever. So I liked his like kind of his full circle moment when he takes that dude out, and I like that little backpack gun he has in season 1. Like it's like on his back, it's like a droid, and it like points. It's just got a pistol, and it kind of like hits those angles that he can't get. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
a pretty cool costume though.
Yeah,
pretty interesting. But then. And that obviously that leads to they get the coordinates to Moff Gideon, they go to his ship, they get Bo-Katan, they take Boba, Fennec, and they go up there and like the final showdown happens. He gets the kid back. The fight with him at the Beskar spear versus the Darksaber, or or the Death Trooper.
The Death
The Death Trooper was cool, and then he fights Moff Gideon with the Darksaber, and he wins it by combat.
Yep.
And Bo-Katan's a little mad, but she doesn't really press the issue
because
either.
He had no idea.
Yeah, I know. She was like, she was like, leave him to me. But he didn't know.
He just didn't kill him.
But Moff Gideon knew.
Yeah.
He knew. He said it. He was like, see, they're already on the bridge because that's where they think I'm at. But I am over here. And he's like, and this is what she wants and all this stuff. And he's like, I don't care about that sword. Like, I don't know nothing about that thing. Like, I just want the kid. So he fights him. He wins it. And then he didn't mean to beat him, obviously, but he needed to get his kid back. And then she kind of sees him like, oh, crap. But she doesn't press the issue. She doesn't fight him. And then all the Death Troopers that Din pushed out of the cargo bay flew back. And they'll fight in their way back. And then you get our big cameo at the end of that season, which is Luke Skywalker.
Everybody's like,
who's this guy? Right?
What's going on?
Moff Gideon freaks out, and he's like trying to kill himself. Luke comes in, fights all the Death Troopers, takes them out. And you know what's crazy? I love that scene with Luke fighting through the Death Troopers. Mm-hmm. Because if you see Rogue One, and only Rogue One, not A New Hope. Because in A New Hope, you see, they steal the Death Star plans. And then, Darth Vader's chasing all the people who are giving, the little data stick to the next person, to the next person, to the next person. And Vader's kind of, fighting his way through to get to it. But it's, kind of weak, right? You think this Sith Lord, this, all this crazy stuff. So he's, he's just a couple easy slashes. He's not really doing anything crazy. But when you see the ending of Rogue One, they, up it. Because the ending of Rogue One is basically that beginning of A New Hope. Mm-hmm. And Darth Vader is going crazy, real brutal, real violent, slicing people up, using the Force, choking people, throwing them everywhere, slicing everybody up. It's really a really good action scene. And that scene of Luke coming through that bay,
it's kind of like that.
It's mirrors it to me. It looks perfect. So I think that's kind of a good parallel of the two, the father and son, of their abilities later on. But I thought it was really cool. So then Luke takes Grogu, and then boom, that's the end of season 2. And also, he reveals his face to Grogu for the first time, who'd never seen him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so he sees him, all that crazy stuff. And then I know you don't remember, but in the middle of Book of Boba Fett, there was those 2 episodes that kind of tie into Mandalorian season 3. So in the middle of Boba Fett, he's about to fight off all the crime syndicate, right? He's like, I need people I can trust. So he finds the Mandalorian. And then they kind of give you a little backstory of what he's been up to. Mm. And so he goes to the armorer with the Darksaber. And it's I don't know if it's either before or after. I can't remember when, but she makes him or he goes over to pick up the little chainmail for Grogu.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then she talks to him and she's like, have anyone seen you without your helmet or whatever? And then he's like, yeah, unfortunately, she's like, well, you're not a Mandalorian no more. Yeah. That's it. It's that you can be redeemed, you go bathe in the waters of Mandalore, so on and so forth.
But you can't do that because it doesn't exist anymore.
It doesn't exist anymore. Him and Paz have a little showdown. He's like, that belongs to my ancestor. So they fight or whatever. Din beats Paz, and then he leaves to go take the little chainmail to Grogu. But he runs into Ahsoka, and she's like, oh, he won't see me, or she doesn't let him see Grogu or whatever. But later on, Luke's gives him a choice. He's like, your buddy the Mandalorian showed up. Here's what he brought you. But here's this little lightsaber. It's Yoda's, my master Yoda's lightsaber. He's like, pick one. You'll be my first official student in my Jedi Academy.
And he picks the chainmail.
He picks the chainmail. And next thing you know, Din is back on Tatooine with Boba. And a ship just shows up or something. I can't remember exactly. And then Grogu pops out of the ship. And he's like, what are you doing here, kid? And then so he basically gets Grogu back there. And they have a cool fight scene. When they're fighting themselves out of there. And Baby Yoda uses the Force to calm the Rancor down and put him to sleep.
Oh, yeah.
And then, that's the end of. I mean, if we're just talking about the Mandalorian specifically, that's the last you really see. I didn't, not too much on Book of Boba Fett, the middle of that, where you see Din and Grogu and stuff like that, and then season 3, which we just watched not too recently to get like a refresher. I think I'm kind of tired of just Moff Gideon, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, he got captured, and like I get that he's like the big bad, but they could have did something else. Like, he's the big bad season 1, season 2, season 3.
Yeah.
Like, he's just the big bad.
Well, no, that's what I was saying. Like, well, I get that Din doesn't kill people. We talked about this before, but even still, like, he didn't kill him. Well, I guess because he didn't.
He was also worth more money alive.
Yeah.
So
how the heck did he break out?
I can't remember how he escaped. It was like this. I know it was like this plot. Some people inside of the place broke him out or whatever. But I don't really remember how he escaped. But he does escape, and he goes back to Mandalore, and he like starts using the like resources that are kind of left there, and building up another army or like a little army down there. But season 3 I really liked because you see Mandalore. They go back, they visit Mandalore, they reunite the two clans, which is pretty cool.
Because there's people still on Mandalore.
There's a couple people that never left.
Yeah,
which is crazy because they said it was uninhabited. But they're there. And then they unite the clans. They see the mythosaur, or at least Bo-Katan does.
Yeah.
She sees the mythosaurs. They bathe in the waters. They defeat Moff Gideon. You know what I mean? Din adopts Grogu, which is a touching moment. They bathing in the waters.
Yeah.
I definitely thought that Grogu shouldn't have been Din Grogu. He should have been like Grogu Djarin. Because I feel like Din's name is, his first name is Din Djarin, or like Din and Djarin. Like, Djarin's like his last name. That's probably not the case, because I know they did some crazy stuff, but they call him Din Grogu, which I didn't really like. I think they should have called him like Grogu Djarin. That might be wrong, but I think that would have been better.
Well, I guess it really depends on how their names are.
Yeah.
And if his name, if Din is like some kind of title or something.
I think it is. I think it's like, I'd have to look it up, but I think it's like a foundling title type thing. Like you don't have like a last name, so like maybe Din is like found, like like you're found or you're whatever.
Well, I don't know, because he says when Moff Gideon says Din Djarin, he says, I haven't heard that name since before I was found.
Yeah, maybe.
So I don't know.
Yeah, shoot, maybe they'll talk about it a little bit more in the movie that's coming out.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty excited about that. Obviously, I'm very excited to go see that movie. I got tickets for Thursday midday, first showing, so I could sneak in and grab popcorn buckets and the whole shebang. And then, we're going to see it together.
So what do you think is going to happen in this movie?
You know what? I don't know. So I tried not to watch too many of the trailers because I don't want to spoil it for myself, really.
Yeah.
But like, for one, he gets the Razor Crest back. And then I just saw a clip because, unfortunately, the internet ruined it for me. It looks like whoever Sigourney Weaver's character is basically is like, do this for me and this ship is yours. And it's like a new Razor Crest.
Yeah.
Which kind of is like, obviously they can't rebuild the Razor Crest he had. It got destroyed like to pieces. All that survived was a Beskar spear. So, I'd like to know what that is. But I think what he's doing is he's working for the New Republic. So he's working for the New Republic, and he's taking out like high value targets for them. So it's kind of like a mercenary, bounty hunter, high difficulty missions and stuff like that. I hope there's like a cool backstory that's kind of like a background story that's happening. Obviously, if it was just going to be him doing missions, that's kind of like you might as well made it a show.
Yeah.
There has to be some kind of bigger plot in the background.
So
I'm excited to see what that is.
I will say with the whole Mandalorian, Grogu, everything, the one thing that I am more disappointed about is we don't know their backstories. We don't know what Grogu is. Obviously, we know he is the species of Yoda.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't know where Yoda came from. We don't know what species he is. We don't know any of that, right? There's a little bit of backstory with Din, but it's just you see his parents put him in this, I don't know what it is,
like a bunker. Yeah, to save him for the was it? They were like the super battle droids that came down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know everybody else's backstory.
I mean, you
know
know
Ahsoka's backstory because she's in
Clone Wars.
Clone Wars. You know, you see Luke for like 5 seconds, but you know his whole backstory because you
see a little bit of Grogu's backstory, mind you, not like the species, because they still don't really say anything about the species, because it was Yoda and Yaddle, the only two, and then they show that episode. I think it's in season. It might be in season 3. I don't remember, but they show Grogu getting rescued from Order 66. They show like when the younglings are getting attacked, he's getting escaped. He's being like escorted out or whatever. The guy who plays Jar Jar Binks, they got him to play a Jedi, and he like saves Grogu, puts him on the transport to get him out of there. So he safely escapes Order 66. But like,
yeah, but we don't know like how much training he's had.
Yeah, I mean,
there's no like arc for him.
Yeah, well, maybe you'll see him.
We have a whole 3 seasons of Mandalorian and Grogu, but we don't, and him being passed around to try to get him trained and to strengthen his force using, but we don't know that part of his life.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we'll see it either, because I think they've given up. I mean, he uses it in little bits and pieces, but like, I think from the trailers I've also seen, he has like little gauntlets and stuff. So like he's fighting like a Mandalorian over fighting like a Jedi.
Do you think this is the end?
Do I think he'll come back for like another season or another movie?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I'm going to say this movie is going to completely wrap up the Mandalorian show.
Yeah.
I don't think, I hate to think it, but I don't know if they're going to kill Din off or whatever, and then Grogu's going to do something else. Like, I don't know. I feel like they're going to do something crazy at the end of this movie.
Yeah.
And if they do set it up, maybe it's going to be to tie into the Ahsoka show, because remember, like, Thrawn is the big bad for Ahsoka. Maybe for after this movie, Din will just be traveling the galaxy, helping out as needed with Grogu. You'll see Grogu and Din just chilling, coming to help every once in a while. Whenever, somebody we can get for help, and then here comes a cameo of the Mandalorian and Grogu. But I think that's pretty much what we're gonna see. I hope they don't kill him off, but I could see something really crazy happening at the end. I mean, they've already like toyed with the faraway galaxies in Ahsoka, right? Where Ezra was at.
Oh yeah.
And Ahsoka, maybe they go that way to try to find more of Grogu's people. Who knows? I don't know, but I think it's gonna have a satisfying ending. I'm excited to see how it ends.
Well, hopefully we get to see Pedro Pascal and Rosario Dawson at Star Wars Celebration 2027.
Oh yeah, can't wait to go to that. We got our tickets, got the hotel, and got the flights.
Yep.
So it's gonna be
ready to go.
It's gonna be a very interesting time, and I'm really excited to check it out. Hopefully, it's not too crazy. I know a lot of tickets were sold out, so it's gonna be at capacity. But we're gonna make do with what we have for sure.
Yeah.
But that's about wrapping it up for us on this episode. So, do you have any last thoughts on The Mandalorian?
Yeah. If you haven't seen it, watch it.
Watch it before you watch the movie. Can you knock it out in 2 days? 3 days, maybe?
Yeah, you can. Yes, you can.
Yes, you can. All right. Well, until next time, I'm Candido.
And I'm Samantha.
This has been
Geeking Out with My Spouse.
Thanks for hanging out with us on Geeking Out with My Spouse. We love getting to share our nerdy rabbit holes with you, and the fact that you're here listening means the world. If you want to support the show, the easiest way is to follow or subscribe wherever you're listening. You can also leave a rating or review. It helps more than you think.
Do you want to go the extra mile? Share this episode with a friend? Tag us on your socials. We're on Facebook and Instagram. Or send us your wild theories and fandom hot takes at geekinoutwithmyspouse@gmail.com. We'll be back next time with more cozy chaos, more geekery, and probably at least one moment where one of us says something we immediately regret. See you then.